my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Sunil Abraham Nainan. He is a senior consultant pediatrician. He completed his MBBS, MD in pediatrics, and senior residency from AIMS New Delhi, followed by MRC PCH from London in 2001. He has practiced in Kerala for many years and now resides in Kothunur, Bangalore. Along with his wife, Dr. Shanti, he has been actively mentoring young couples and guiding them in marriage and parenting for over 2 decades. He is also a proud father to Hannah and John. Let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Sunil as he takes us through today's session.
Good morning, everyone. So nice to be on this Zoom meeting. You can hear me? Yes.
Yes.
So this morning I would be talking about tips for healthy marriage. Now, well, I would be talking about tips, but more importantly, I would be talking about some basic things about marriage, about healthy marriage. And I'm sure all those who are hearing today will be helped in some way. Either if you're already married, definitely in your marriage. But if you are thinking of getting married, I'm sure after hearing, you will be more excited about the whole institution of marriage. Now, we are living in times where the data suggests marriage as an institution is losing its importance in the society. Globally, around a lot of marriages are ending in divorce. Even data says in the US, maybe 40 to 50% are ending in divorce. In India, statistically, there are much lower divorce rates actually, officially, 1%. But the divorce rates are increasing, especially in the metros. And, India is behind the developed countries in many ways. And in this aspect also, India is behind. I'm happy about at least this aspect that India is behind. So many people are actually preferring nowadays to remain single. And in fact, there are many couples who are not even wanting a child, to have a child. So we need to re-examine the role of marriage in society. In fact, many people are asking a question: why do we need a piece of paper in order to love one another? Let me tell you, this question I faced from a very close relative of mine, very educated, very nice person also. Why do we need a piece of paper in order to love one another? Yes, we can love one another without a piece of paper. In fact, I think many of you would be knowing, Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the very loved footballer. Maybe the fans of Messi may not like him, but many people like him. From 2016, he is with his partner, Georgina, through whom he has 2 children, but they are not yet married. And they have also taken 3 other children, which Ronaldo had from their relationship. So marriage is supposed to be something which is kind of an optional thing. So coming back to this question, why do we need a piece of paper in order to love one another? What do you think? Do we need a piece of paper? Actually, we don't need a piece of paper to love one another today. Okay? We can love one another today. We can be attracted to somebody today. But we do need a piece of paper to promise future love. Today I may be close to somebody. I may like somebody. But what about tomorrow? What about next month, next year, next decade? Will I love that person? Do I want to make a public promise of that? Do I want to make a vow? This level of love is a much higher love than the usual love which people imagine. There's one man and there's one woman, they love one another and they're deeply in love and all of those things. What about the days when we are not deeply in love? You see? So, marriage, definitely, there's a legal commitment, public commitment, lifelong commitment, and exclusive commitment. That's the greatness of this institution of marriage. You see, in fact, true masculinity. What is true masculinity? There's a lot of debate about true masculinity. Who is a truly masculine person? A truly masculine person is not he who is going around with 5 different ladies, at the same time, In fact, for much of human history, a man who could not have mastery over himself and indulged in excessive eating, drinking, and sleeping around was considered to be unfit to rule his household. I was born and brought up in North India. There you call masculinity as mardangi, A true mardangi is, a man who can give commitments and keep it. So who is the true mard here? Or, who can give a commitment to love a person lifelong and give that commitment publicly and legally and keep it? Now the question comes, why marry at all? You see? Well, let me tell you, only the institution of marriage can give a stable companionship. And I wrote, even in old age. You see, when people are young, they think that, koi baat nahi, I can live, they're very strong and, I will live. But first of all, a stable relationship, and even in old age. No, I can live alone, koi baat nahi hai, everything, That's when people realize more of the need for one another. Now, one of the great things about marriage is, after getting married, you don't have to keep proving to each other. You see, on the other hand, if you're in a live-in relationship or if you're in a dating, we always have to prove to that other person that we are good, we are attractive, physically or even otherwise, we are charming. And so people put up facades, they keep acting. And let me tell you, it is one thing to act as a movie hero or heroine and get paid for it, but acting and continuously acting in real life is a very painful thing. It's a very tiring thing. And then there's always that risk that the other person will not like you or not accept you. And that's it. So every day is a new day in dating and live-in, where the other person can unfriend you. That other person can, there's always the risk. It's like stock market. Any day, Trump tariffs can come. Anything can come. It can go down. It can go up. Anything can happen. But marriage provides that stability. We don't have to keep proving to one another. Next. And definitely, my hearers would understand that you don't need to get married to have children. But you need a stable marriage to provide a secure environment for children to flourish. Why marry? Well, you may be belonging to different religions, and every religion encourages marriage. Yes. For financial reasons. I read this very interesting statistics. There are so many statistics which show that people who are married, they are much better financially. I mean, there can be exceptions, and you can say, no, 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 Dr. Sunil, this is not true in this life of this person. Agreed. In some people's, yes. But definitely, for even people who are married, they are financially, comparatively, compared to the other group, much more stable. There have been studies which show that even in the US, the post-retirement income, when you see the people who are married, they are much better off. Now, the Hindu way of marriage. In India, most of the people are from a Hindu background, and a typical Hindu marriage in the North India, they take Sat Fere, 7 times they go around that fire, It shows that this is a union which is lasting for 7 lives, Sat Janam, So, in the Hindu way of marriage, another thing is the husband calls his wife not only as Patni, but also as Ardhangini, it's like a partner, a Sahadharmini, Dharam Patni. It's a sacred union. It's a lasting union. Yeah. In the Christian concept of marriage, and I have been quite influenced through this, the marriage is not just a contract. You see, in a contract, you can terminate the contract if one party is not following this. So I am in a job. So the employer says, okay, I'll give you this much money, I'll give you these facilities, and I say I will give you this. Maybe over a period of time, the employer is not happy with me, or he finds somebody better than me. He says, you go, and he gives me a notice, and he sends me off. Or I may not be happy with my employer, or I may be getting better salary or better facilities elsewhere. I cancel the contract and I go off. But in the Christian concept, marriage is not just a contract, it is a covenant. Somebody asked Jesus Christ when we should divorce. He said, in the beginning, it was not like that. Even when there is a sexual immorality, because human heart is hard, maybe, you can. That's the thing which is the Christian concept of marriage and the permanency of marriage. Very interesting data from the US, it says, quite a few of marriages are unhappy. But what they found is 2/3 of unhappy marriages become happy in 5 years if they stay married. So this data shows that, some problem happens in 1 month, 2 months. What is this? I cannot do this. मैं जा रहा हूँ, मैं जा रही हूँ. And then, no. Once people are in this marriage and if they stay put, they will become, 2/3 will become happy. Oh my God. Now, why are many marriages failing? Because most marriages are based on a consumer kind of contract. As I already mentioned, people are getting married to get something. Now, you may say, what's wrong in that? Well, nothing wrong in that. You want to get something. But if that is the primary reason you got into marriage, well, you are into a consumer kind of contract. And obviously, you got into marriage to get something. And if you are not getting that, you say, thank you very much, I'm leaving. Now, in the modern days, there's a lot of importance given to individual freedom. We are living in times where individual freedom, autonomy, self-fulfillment, my potential, that has to come up. There's a lot of importance given to that. Is there anything wrong with all these 3 ideas? Not at all. Freedom is good, autonomy is good, self-fulfillment is good. But if we are thinking only about ourselves, then marriage is not going to flourish. Marriage will flourish if we are thinking of the other person. In the earlier decades, it's not that people were very nice then and people are very bad now. But in the value system, the people used to think about others also. There used to be a thing about denying ourselves, a self-denial. That was also considered a very good thing. In the local parlance, they used to say adjust, So adjust, Indian whole thing is adjust. So, but adjusting is very important. And adjusting involves denying ourselves. And that is how a relationship can really move. But when people say, I cannot adjust, I cannot deny myself, why should I deny myself? Now, if people talk like that, then marriages will fail. The biggest enemy of married life is. What is the biggest enemy of married life? I'm pausing for some time for you to think. You can say a lot of things which are enemies of married life, but the biggest enemy of married life, according to me, is self-centeredness. What are some of the symptoms of self-centeredness? You become quickly irritable. Why? Because the way you wanted things, it's not happening. You become impatient. ये क्या हो रहा है? I told it so many times. I told it. And because of that, we end up saying things which are not gracious and not kind. And because we are self-centered, many times we hold on to past injuries and hurts. That day, 1997, this happened. People are keeping a record of all that happened. And why? Because I was hurt. So this self-centered behavior, and one of the biggest symptoms of self-centered behavior is we become blind to our own faults and hypersensitive to others' faults. In other words, we see a speck in other person's eye, but there's a log in our eye. So these are all symptoms of self-centeredness. And when we are centered on ourselves, when I want to get my things done in my way for my things, and we are not bothered about the other person, that is certainly going to destroy marriages. Now, people are already married, you have only 3 choices, okay? Either you serve the other person with coldness or resentment. How I'll give you an example of how you serve with coldness and resentment. So there's suppose there's a wife who is pretty angry and with her husband, and she cannot just give one beating to him even though she wants to beat him. So what she does is, okay, the husband has come from the work and the wife gives a cup of coffee. But the way she gives coffee is she takes the coffee and puts the coffee little like this on the, on the table. Or as she is going back, she closes the door little. So technically she has served the coffee, but she has served with resentment. She has served, So it can be the other way, the husband serving the wife in some ways, So either we can serve with coldness or resentment, or we can selfishly insist on having our own way, or we can serve joyfully. What is our choice? Now, self-centeredness doesn't mean that we should never think about ourselves. You will say that, what, Dr. Sunil, shouldn't we think about ourselves? Yes, if you don't think about yourselves, who will think about yourself? You think about yourself, but think less of yourself. So, it's not thinking less. You don't need to think less of yourself that I'm nothing. No, not in that way. But you think of yourselves less and think of the other person more. Why are many marriages failing? I have already told you these 2 points. And the third point is self-centeredness. Next, there's one very famous person, writer called Timothy Keller, and he has written a book on why marriage, meaning of marriage. He said something which is very, very meaningful. Let me tell you. He said, all individual lives in this world are broken to some extent. All of us are broken people. None of us are perfect. Okay. We all have some problems in our lives. When we are unmarried, we are like a bridge Okay, we are like a bridge which has small cracks. So there is a small crack, nothing happens. Okay, we are fine. Now, imagine a big trailer goes over that bridge. This bridge, which had small cracks, suddenly, when that big trailer goes over that, the whole bridge begins to shake. Some of you, especially who are married recently or something, some of you are thinking, well, before marriage, things were pretty okay. What happened? What happened? Why are so many problems in my life? Well, it's not, according to my understanding, it's not that new problems have come. These problems were there earlier also. For example, suppose you were a selfish person, it was okay that you were selfish. Now you have come together with another selfish person, and now there is a clash of selfishness. You were greedy earlier also, but now after marriage, that crack is becoming bigger. So the cracks in our lives, the brokenness in our lives, individual lives become bigger when marriage comes. And that is why there are problems. You see? So the solution is that, okay, so let's not marry. No, 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 no. I would say it the other way. You know, I used to think that I'm a very nice person. And actually, many people used to tell me also that I'm a nice person before my marriage. But 1998, I got married to Shanti, very nice lady. But gradually, I realized, my God, what's happening? Some of my worst things began to be, you know, I began to realize. For example, I'll give you a few examples. There is one apple in the fridge. You like it. But there are two people, me and my wife. Will I eat the whole apple or will I give to her also? I realized that I'm pretty selfish. Okay, both of us are busy the whole day. At the night, our child cries. Who will rise up? I am tired, she is tired. You see, if I am a selfish person, I will keep sleeping. Or I will at least show to my wife that I am sleeping. So that's what is going to happen. And so, the problem about marriage is not that marriage is as an institution is bad. We are flawed people. And that is why marriage is actually showing some of our flaws in larger things. Yeah. Now, what is the foundation for a healthy, lasting marriage? What is the foundation for a healthy, lasting marriage? This is a question I want to ask you. What do you think is the foundation for a healthy, lasting marriage? Many people might say many things. If I had an opportunity to ask you, probably many of you would say to me, love is the foundation for a healthy, lasting marriage. Yes? But what kind of love? That is where, people are confused. Most people think that a romantic love is the healthy foundation. So there is this Prince Charming and there is this princess. Ek tha Rajkumar, ek thi Rajkumari. And then they see each other. And then they get attracted to each other. And then they get married. And then they live happily ever after. This is what many people think is an ideal marriage. But I want to inform you, I want to tell you today that that is not a good foundation. Romantic love can initiate a relationship into a marriage, or it can be arranged marriage or whatever, but it can never be the foundation for a marriage. I'll tell you my personal you know, journey. Before I got married, one day a thought came to my mind. And this thought was based on a Hindi movie. There's an old Hindi movie called Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Shashi Kapoor and Zeenat Aman were the hero and heroine. So this Zeenat Aman, when she was very young, 8 years old, she was a very beautiful girl and the lady in that movie. So this girl, when she was 8 years, hot oil fell into one side of her face. So what happened is, as she grew up, she always used to put a sari pallu over her this. So this was hidden. So Shashi Kapoor used to saw this part of Zeenat Aman, and they were into heavy romantic love and everything. So that's the movie. So the thought which came to me was, Sunil, if the woman whom you are going to get married, at that time I was not married, if the woman whom you are going to get married, hot oil falls into her face and she becomes disfigured, and being in medical field, I know what disfigurement means. Will I continue to love her? Just that question clarified a lot of things in my mind. I cannot get married to a lady for her physical beauty, because what if her physical beauty goes off? Dear friends, you know, I know of a girl whom I saw in my MBBS days. She was, let me tell you, stunning to look at. 20 years down the line, or later, I saw a photograph. I said, what happened to this lady? Her beauty, physical beauty had gone off. Romantic love means people are attracted for some reason. It need not be always physical. It can be because of maybe somebody is attracted to the singing, somebody is attracted to the character or whatever, But none of this is permanent. Even the character can change. Suppose we say, oh, that girl is very humble. So what happens after marriage? We find that lady is not all that humble. So he's trying to boss over you. Then what will you do? You see? So romantic love cannot be the basis. Romantic love is a good bonus, I would say, if you have, and you can have after marriage also, but that cannot be the basis. What's the basis? Commitment love. And if at all there is one word which I want you to take from today's talk, that is commitment love. That is the bedrock of any married life. You commit publicly before people that yes, I am going to love this person, I am going to be with this person no matter what till the end of my life, till death do us part. Commitment love. Now, let me tell you, love is not a feeling, it is a verb. It is something that we do. So there was this guy, a married man, who went to a marriage counselor. Okay, so he went, and the marriage counselor asked, what happened? So he said to the marriage counselor, I am no longer in love with my wife. So you know what the counselor said? Love. I hope you understood. What this man was telling is, I am no longer feeling any love for my wife. So what did he say? You love. Many people think that if it is true love, it should come naturally. Well, no, it need not come naturally, because many factors affect us. Let me tell you, even outside temperature can affect our love. You tell me, if it's very hot and you're sweating, love may not come naturally to you. True love will not come naturally. If your wife is having back pain, what should you do? You may be busy person, but you can go and give a back rub to her. Yeah. It may not be naturally, you may not feel like doing it. But let me assure you, your wife is having back pain and you massage her back, very likely that she will she will have feeling of love for you. You see? So this, C.S. Lewis is a celebrated British thinker and philosopher. He said, do not waste time thinking whether you like your spouse or not. Act as if you did. Okay? So the more focus is not on feeling, but on action. Now that's, this is a dialogue which many people say, especially during, just before marriage or during honeymoon. The spouses say to one another, you know what, I'm willing to die for you. मैं तुम्हारे लिए मरने के लिए तैयार हूँ, and all kinds of dialogues we say, सात समुंदर पार करके, I'm willing to cross 7 seas and bring you lotus and all those things. So one day, what happened? A funny thing happened. I was sitting in my dining table and I finished my meal. A thought came to my mind. Sunil, no need to die for your wife. Please put these dishes back in the kitchen. You see, Sunil Abraham is willing to die for his wife Shanti, but he is not willing to take the dishes and put it back in the kitchen. You see, this dialogue baji is not, true love. In true love, you can say many things. But don't misunderstand that dialogues for true love. True love is action, it's verb. Yeah. So the question is, are you willing, not whether you are willing to die for your spouse, question is, are you willing to live for your spouse? So today I'm putting a new question before you. Don't quickly die. First live for your spouse. So this I said, because we have very romantic feelings, we can do acts of love. But most of the times that's not the case. We may not have romantic feelings. What when we don't have romantic feelings? You do acts of love. Yeah. Another very important thing which I want to tell today is, every good relationship needs to be built up, worked on by both the sides. People think that sab achanak se everything will be, it will, by itself it will work out. There's no magic in all this. You have to build up relationships. It will not come naturally. We have to build up relations. We have to make efforts. And mind you, when we make efforts to build up, then some sharp word or action can even destroy the relationships. So that is why, on one hand, people must deliberately build up relationship, and they also should not do anything which will break the relationship. Now, from 2001 to 2024, I lived in Kerala. And let me tell you one very odd thing about, there are many good things about Kerala, but one very negative thing about Kerala. Many living spouses who are living are not living with their other half. In other words, either the wife is in Gulf or somewhere, or the husband is somewhere. Sometimes husband is in one place, wife is in another place, and children are in another place. You tell me, how can relationships be built up? How can people grow in their relationships? Especially the early years. But today, people are giving importance to career, money, convenience, and the family comes fourth in their list of priorities. Oh, I have this government job and my husband does some other jobs. That's why we are in two different places. Okay. And children are being looked after by grandparents. And then we expect marriages to do well? No. Marriages are like plants. They need care. They need watering. The weeds needs to be pulled out. There needs to be fertilizers. It's a living organism. Now, to the unmarried, let me tell you, people are they are looking for the right person. I'm waiting for the right person. Now, I am 54 years old now, and by now I have seen so many people, they are keeping on waiting for the right person, and they have not found the right person, even though there is 8 billion people in this world. And of course, you cannot marry the rest 8 billion, but I mean to say there are a lot of choices. People are waiting for the right person. One person in a joking way, he said something like this. So there are some guys who are waiting for the right girl. And you know who the right girl is? The girl who has the physical beauty of Deepika Padukone, the heart of Mother Teresa, the mind of Madame Curie, a great cook, and whatnot. Dear friends, does such a person exist in this world? And even in the rare possibility of such a person existing, why should that person marry you? Are you the most handsome man and the most with a great heart and you are a wonderful, you have a great mind, and people are always and then they somehow they get married to somebody. They think that, oh, this is the right person. There is that tang, kuch hota hai, something happens, and then they say this is the right person. But then what happens is, as soon as they go there, they get married, they realize, oh my God, this is not the guy I married. This is not the girl I married. They have changed. We are all changing. So we actually end up marrying the wrong person. In the sense, just in case we married the right person, after some time that person will change. By the way, we will also change. So let's not wait for the right person. There's no right person in this world. All of us are flawed people. Okay? So why are most marriages failing? Because most marriages are based on consumer kind of contracts, the overimportance given to individual freedom, autonomy, self-fulfillment in modern times, and not to self-denial, self-centeredness. And now, another very, very important point is people put too much importance in marriage. In the sense, too much expectation from marriage. They say they are expecting from the spouse what only God can give. For example, people are expecting true satisfaction. You tell me, can your spouse give you true satisfaction? People are expecting peace. People are expecting comfort. People are expecting consolation. People are expecting a true encouragement. This is too much to expect from your spouse. So, if we expect from the spouse what only Almighty God can give, well, marriages cannot last. So, I am going to end here. What are some of the tips I am giving? Number one, consider marriage as a lifelong exclusive commitment. If people are going to get married thinking that, let me see whether it works out, otherwise I will go from it. This type of thing is not going to work out at all. I have been married for 27 years now. this June it will be 27. I have a pretty good, nice wife, and some of you know her. But let me tell you, sometimes I have also become very angry, and my wife has also become very angry. you know. But what has kept us is that understanding that this is a lifelong commitment. I'm not looking for anybody else. That search ended in June 1998. There may be a better person than my wife. There are some people who claim my spouse is the best in the whole world. I mean, maybe in a poetic way they can say, but that's not true. There are other good, better people in this world, okay? In every sense. There are other better people than me in this world. But once I consider marriage as a lifelong exclusive commitment, then my whole attitude changes. Second, thinking of myself less is going to help me in my marriage. And thinking of my spouse, thinking of my children. And true love is commitment love. Romantic love is a bonus. True love is a verb. And marriages needs to be carefully built. And let me give you a bonus tip. Okay? I hope you're ready for it. You see, if marriage is a relationship where one spouse keeps on giving, then how can they keep on giving if they're not receiving from somewhere? Many people say, Dr. Sunil, I have been continually giving to my spouse is not giving to me. Yeah, that's maybe true. Then what to do? Well, you imagine a water tank, okay? This water tank is always giving to you. That's how from the tank the water is coming to your pipe. But where is the water tank receiving? If water tank is wanting to receive from us, arey nahi yaar, water tanks receiving should be from some other source. What is that other source from where we can continuously get power, get that power to keep giving? If you ask me personally, I would say God. Only from Him we can receive, so that we can give. If people are thinking that if you give me love, I will give you back, that kind of a thing is not going to flourish. That kind of a marriage is not going to flourish. What is healthy marriage? Healthy marriage is where people are in a lifelong committed relationship. There are ups and downs. They are not always hugging each other. Sometimes they want to punch each other, but yet they stick on. Yet they continue. Yet they keep giving. Well, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil, for that insightful and thought-provoking session. Personally, I was challenged by the example you used that marriages reveal the cracks in our lives. Thanks for all the insightful thoughts that you shared. And to the audience, this time is open for questions. I hope we can take the questions now. So, Dr. Sunil, here we have our first question. Is it right to do dating to find a person with same vision as a Christian?
Well, I would say not only as a Christian, as anybody, dating, we have to define what we mean by dating. If I think a good definition of dating is meeting with a person of opposite sex, basically with a view to know whether you want to get married to that person or not. In other words, doing masti is not dating. Masti means, you just have a nice time with another person. No. the particular view that, okay, this person looks like a person whom I would like to get married to. So, but I want to know a little bit more. So, a person makes some efforts. That can be called dating. Now, I tell many young people, I mean, this is a very common question which is asked, especially by the young people. My own personal view is, what is it that you want to know about the other person before you get married? Okay, because there is no limit to what we can know about a person. I've been married for more than 26 years, and I'm still knowing my wife, and my wife is still knowing me. So how long you want, how much you want to know, what are those critical things you want to know? You be sure, and few times you meet. The problem happens in dating is, you see, we are not some inert people. We are not some inert gases. Yeah, we are human beings with all our complex emotions and everything. So we come closer to another person. We share some of our things, they share some of their things. And during this time, sometimes people, get attracted. They give their heart to some other person. And then the other person says no. You see? A lot of hurts and lot of things, and even suicides, and so many people go to depression and all of those things. So I would counsel young people that, okay, dating, be clear what you want to know, and as soon as you want to know, make decisions quickly, rather than become very close with somebody, that person gets attached to you, and then you say, no, 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 I was just being your friend, and then that person is hurt and all those things. That shouldn't happen. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil. And one more question. Would you share some practical tips on how to balance career and marriage?
Well, if you look at it, both are important. Career is important, especially see people get married in their 20s or maybe 30s. So, career is important, but marriage is also important. Married life is also important. Now, we have to prioritize. Uh, if anyone asks me, I would say that career is important, money is important, convenience is important, family life is important. But I would put family above these. You see, if I have to choose between my career and family, I would choose family. And families should be given more importance. People who have chosen otherwise definitely will have to pay pay a price. That's all I would say. They will have to pay a price. People who say no, no, they spend so much time in their workplace, and then they come back, they're tired, they don't have time to talk to their wife and everything. Then they see that you see, as I told you, relationships needs to be built up, and that needs time. And even when having children, you see, there are these busy parents. So they come and buy expensive gifts to their children. But, there's a saying which says, your children need your presence presence more than your presents presence. Of course, presents are good. Maybe it's easy for you, few dollars. Just go, buy, give some expensive toys. But what will they do with the toys? They need you more. And as a pediatrician, I am witness to this. How so many children are growing up with very all this Toblerone and Galaxy sweets, chocolates, and all these toys. But unfortunately, the parents have very little time because they are so much. So somewhere people will have to take radical decisions. And lastly, let me tell you about especially children, because that's one of my prime areas where I have been involved. You see, children are there only for some time in our life, say 16 years, 18 years. After that, also career will continue, money will continue, but children will go off. You see, they are only in that window period. And as I told you, in my time in Kerala, many Malayali parents are in Gulf and other places working very hard. And if you ask, why are you working hard? For our children. Okay, for what? We are building a house. And they build this two-storied house. And when they come back, the children are anyway gone. And do you think these children will come back and stay in that Kerala house? You see? So definitely we'll have to prioritize. So definitely, I'm not saying career is not important. I'm not saying money is not important, but family is more important, I feel.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil. And yes, we have one last question before we end the session for today. This question comes from a participant who was worried about the past experiences and apprehensions they have gained about marriage throughout their childhood. So it could be from their family, from their parents. So the fear of facing marriage, should they deal with all the apprehensions, pain, and get them healed first and clear the doubts before proceed to marriage? Or is it okay to get into marriage with all the fears, but they feel this may not be a fair practice to do for their partner?
Definitely, I agree with this person who asked the question that actually our families, the way we are brought up, and the experiences we have had, and what we have seen about marriages does affect us. And many of the negative experiences that creates fear. And if a person enters into marriage with these kinds of fears unresolved, that can affect their marriage in a bad way. So definitely these fears needs to be tackled. This needs to be talked over with some counselor or some mature people, wise people, and you have to deal with those fears, because after coming, if you get married with those fears, you will project those fears into your marriage, and that can really affect the marriage in a very bad way. Yes. So definitely, I agree that there's many people are actually afraid of getting married. So that's where, those who are truly, it requires a degree of boldness actually. You are getting married to another person whom you do not know, and you are saying, I will be with that person for life. You see? So definitely that requires boldness. So, well, only the bold people get marriage. Okay. Is asking whether relationship before marriage is practical or good. Well, part of that question has already been answered in that dating. But I must ask for what's the meaning of relationship? Friendship, yes. I would say kind of friendship to know whether this is the person whom I am going to get married to, yes. And but many people go ahead to more intimate relationship, and that is where I would say we must be very, very careful. Even people go into even physical sexual relationship, and once a person gets into a sexual relationship, let me warn you, there is a kind of intimacy which comes with the sexual relationship. It's not a, people may say it's a casual sex, it's a one night stand or whatever, but actually that can create some kind of a thing which it research has proven, studies have proven that people who have had relationships and physical relationship before marriage, they tend to have worse outcomes in their respective marriages. So definitely I would counsel that we must maintain a distance, a healthy distance between marriages. Yes, in your opinion, he says in his opinion it's not good, and in my opinion also, it is not good to have that kind of relationship. A relationship, all these movies and all, mera dil maine de diya type, this dil jaldi se mat dena. Don't give your dil very fast, give the dil to a person with whom you have made a covenant, or you have made a decision to be together under marriage, and that's the person. Otherwise you give dil to somebody, you cannot then quickly take back the dil. It will be shattered. It's not a small thing. It's a very, very serious thing. Thank you for that question. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil, once again. Again, thank you to all who joined us. Stay tuned for our next session. Until then, take care and do invest on your relationships. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.